Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Christopher Barnett here, and for this week's video, I'm going to be taking you through a full-on push workout. So when I refer to a push workout, that's actually part of a bodybuilding training split called a push-pull leg split. Now push, when I say push, that involves chest, shoulders, as well as tricep muscles, because these are pushing muscles. Obviously, at some point, there's going to be a pull workout, which is going to be more back and biceps for that workout, as well as, of course, legs. Now, this is usually run twice per week for a total of 6 days. But this week, only going to run through I would say, intermediate level push workout. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead, take you guys right to the gym right after I change my clothes. And I'm going to provide you guys with the sets, the reps, all the techniques, the strategies, and anything else I'd like to implement to make the most gains I possibly can. I just wanted to clarify one thing before I get into this. One main concept that I want to briefly tell you guys about is muscle fiber types. And by this, I mean type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers, which are known as slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers, respectively. Essentially, all you need to really know about this is that different types of muscle fibers are recruited depending on the type of exercise. So for type 1 or slow twitch fibers, these are going to be involved more in muscular endurance activities or any activity that really involves a lot of oxygen uptake for like a long duration. So like distance running or swimming, for example. And all you need to know for type 2 or fast twitch muscle fibers is that they're just recruited in any activity that typically involves strength or shorter bursts, such as like heavy lifting or sprinting and things of that nature. So just keep these in the back of your mind when I refer to these throughout the video. So let's get right into it, guys. Alright guys, so to kick off this workout, we're actually going to be implementing a 5x5 on the regular flat bench press. Now with this exercise, it's going to have heavier weight in the lower rep range, but this heavier weight in lower rep range will allow you to activate and fatigue more type 2 fast twitch muscle fibers that I previously mentioned. I think this is really great to implement now and then just to shock your body into growth, but I would say don't do it every single time because this can be pretty taxing on your central nervous system as well as your joints in the long run. But regardless, from my personal experience, I do find that choosing a weight where you would normally fail at about 8 reps or so is best. So let's take a little bit of a deeper look as to how I perform these and the certain techniques that I implement. Okay, so I paused right here at the setup because I want to emphasize that whenever you are bench pressing, it is absolutely critical to retract your scapula back and have at least a small arch in your low back. I want you to think of it like someone is placing their fingers on your upper back and spine, and you have to retract your shoulder blades to squeeze those fingers. And you also want to be able to fit your hand underneath your back. That would be a bare minimum arch. With that said, this is absolutely critical because doing this actually places your shoulders in the least stressful scenario, and it's the safest position because you're locking them in place as well as reducing their range of motion. But anyways, a side benefit from this is that the reduced range of motion actually allows you to press more weight. So that's pretty cool about that. So let's continue. Alright, so for the next mass building movement, we're going to hit some incline dumbbell bench press for some pyramid sets. Now this particular exercise, as well as barbell incline, is really great for filling out that upper shelf and getting that upper shelf chest look. And also for those of you that don't know, as I mentioned, pyramid sets, all this really is just increasing weight as you decrease the reps. So for example, we'll do 4x12 with a certain weight, and then we'll decrease the reps in the next set, and then increase the weight on the next set, and so forth. And this is a great intensity strategy, and the varying rep ranges really help target the different muscle fibers, both 1 and 2 as well. So for this, you want to focus on controlled negatives, controlled contractions, and you want to feel the muscle working. You want to have that mind-muscle connection. Okay, so this last one is going to be a superset. Now, for those of you that don't know, supersets involve hitting exercises back to back with no rest time. So for this particular one, we're going to be doing an incline dumbbell fly, followed immediately after by an incline dumbbell hex press. So with the flies, as you can see, you want to focus on the stretch and the squeeze. Particularly with the stretch here, you're going to be working on that chest breadth and that chest width. Now with the hex press, you're going to focus particularly on that squeeze at the top because this is really going to target that interclavicular portion and that inner chest. Alright guys, so now that we got chest out of the way, next on our list is going to be some kettlebell side delt raises. Typically I use dumbbells for this, but honestly I just wanted to get a variation, so I went with the kettlebells instead. For this exercise, we really want to focus on getting some really good volume in and hit a little bit higher reps than say like a 5x5 or something like that. For me personally, I know that my shoulders get the best results from higher volume work, as well as just focusing on that proper contraction of the deltoids. For this one, you really want to make sure not to go super heavy. This is about feeling the medial or the side deltoid contract as well as burn, and you really just want to try to rush as much blood into there as possible. Some things I like to keep in mind is I always lead with my elbows and not my wrists. Now, the reason you want to do this is because if you lead with your wrists, it puts a lot of unnecessary stress on your rotator cuffs, which will ultimately, make you more prone to injury. Alright, so after you get that medial deltoid work in, you want to, of course, get some anterior or front delt work in as well. Having said that, just a disclaimer, I do include posterior or rear delt work throughout the week, but I typically do those on back days just because I don't want to do too much in one workout, if that makes sense. And so for this particular segment of the workout, I was pressed for time, so I went ahead and supersetted straight bar front raises with upright rows, just to get that extra bit of volume in. This is another great benefit of supersets, because not only does it work those type 2 fibers and eventually like tapping into those slow twitch type 1 fibers, but it also really helps you get more work in a shorter time, so it's very efficient, and it really helps if you're ever in a rush. Okay, so last but not least, we just gotta isolate some of those tricep muscles. Now here, I'm gonna be doing a cable overhead extension, and this is gonna be with that rope attachment as you see there. Typically, I don't focus on adding an excessive amount of volume at the end, my push workouts for tricep work that is, simply because triceps are pretty much involved as a secondary muscle group for literally all your pushing movements. Any kind of press, bench press, shoulder press, hex press, and so forth, you're going to be using your triceps a little bit as a secondary muscle group in those movements. So they're definitely not being neglected, and so I don't worry about it too much at the end. So for the second to last one, as always, focus on that stretch, that squeeze, and particularly the thing about this exercise is because it's an extension above the head, it's actually going to focus on that inner long head of the tricep, the biggest part of the tricep. Alright guys, so for this last workout, we're just going to be doing a little bit of unilateral work, meaning one side, unilateral. So these are going to be some dumbbell single arm overhead extensions. In terms of form, you generally want to keep your elbows more inward than what I'm doing right now, and it's mostly because you want to protect those rotator cuffs. But for this particular workout, I just felt a better contraction at this angle, and it just kind of felt more comfortable than the inward angle, so I just kind of went with it for this day. But just bear in mind that typically most people that are doing proper form have more of that rotation inward with elbows inward. Now, the purpose of unilateral work is to help work on those muscular imbalances. For me personally, my left arm is a lot weaker and just a tad smaller than my right arm. So generally I add a little bit more reps on the left side as opposed to the right side. So again, make sure you're focusing on that contraction, the controlled negative, and then just controlled form throughout the movement, as always. And of course, at the end of most of my workouts, I like to cap things off with a little bit of posing practice because it really just helps solidify the pump. On a push workout, of course, I had to throw in some side chest, side tricep, most muscular especially. I also love hitting variations of lat spreads with vacuum poses and some other classic poses as well. Many people think posing is purely about admiring yourself, but honestly, it's more about identifying your strong points versus what you really need to work on, aka your weak points. And it's honestly just not only a great tool for identifying what you need to work on, but it's also a great form of exercise post-workout because it really gets you sweating and burns some extra calories. So that wraps it up, guys. I seriously hope you enjoyed and found this week's video very informational. Please feel free to give this workout a try and let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos to come.